Coming up, a trim gets polished, a man runs away from the rain, intruder sniffing around, and we put Project Chicago on a lie detector. Welcome back to part 18 of Project Chicago, the shiny and outrageously clean Alpina B7. After having its paint perfected by the Gian team and Eve, who had done truly an amazing job, Matthias picked it up and transported it in an enclosed trailer back to the dojo. Matthias just arrived with the mighty Alpina. That is a very nice trailer, my friend.
Thank you very much.
How you doing? Do you want to back in or? So Matthias, if you remember, he brought the X5 from Cologne as well, back to the dojo when we bought it. Super nice guy. Oh man, nice to see you again. It's been a bit, huh? Well, not too long, actually. Half a year, maybe a year even?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
April, May, yeah. So.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Busy?
Busy. Yeah, I'm studying also. I'm finishing my masters and doing this by the side. So.
Man, you're just all over the place. But I like your new car. This is very, very clean.
It's an improvement, right?
Oh yeah.
I spent the whole Saturday cleaning it because I thought if you're going to film it.
Alpina is nice and cozy in there. Good God, look at that finish. Quite like the trailer. And this is Matthias's whip. Beautiful Porsche Cayenne. He needs a comfortable ride. Driving across Europe, towing cars. Really, really nice car. Look how glossy it is.
It's all yours.
Man.
Unfortunately.
Hell, it looks good. The gloss, it's absolutely nuts how good it looks. Look at this level of professionalism. I love this. Seats protected, carpets protected, steering wheel protected. Thank you so much, Matthias. That's how you get the job done. So I'm gonna leave again your contact detail in the description because this is a phenomenal service that you provide. It's just finding someone that reliable, it's so difficult. If you're looking to buy a car in Europe, transport it, ship it, whatever you need to do, Matthias is your guy. Really, really nice guy. Really nice guy.
Sort of a present.
Thank you.
To give you
I love these. I don't know what to say. Look at the car. The finish is insane. Look at the glass. There are no imperfections. Look at the hood. I know we mentioned mirror finish several times in this video, but what do you call that? How else do you describe that finish there? My God, Eve, this is crazy what you've done with this car. We have a lot of dust already, but man, what a car. What a paint job. What a detail job. Salutations. It's been about a month since Alpina has been sitting in this very spot collecting dust while I was doing some other things. But it's time to continue with this car and complete some final tasks before we can officially call it done. We're gonna start with the brakes. I complained that the brake pedal feel is not that good, and I also want to refurbish the complete brakes, just repaint everything so it matches the rest of the car now. Then we are going to polish the window trim, replace the rear subframe bushings, that's sort of the big one, and then some final touches like refit the badges, and I have a new steering wheel for the interior as well. So let's start. Actually working on this car is now the biggest problem because I can't touch the paint or put anything on the paint. The finish is so amazing, I can actually see that I have something white in my face here. And it ain't cocaine! Welcome to the wheel arch. Alpina B7 uses E65 760i brakes, the V12 version of this car, and on paper these are very good brakes. 374mm rotor, 2 piston calipers, same as E60M5, and E60M5 has phenomenal brakes, plenty of bite, plenty of stopping power. The brakes on this car, not so much. The brake pedal, it's soft and mushy, so when you step on it, there's no bite. It doesn't inspire any confidence whatsoever. I had one scary situation on the Autobahn with this car, and I just didn't like it one bit, and we need to do something about it. These rotors, these are not standard or original or OE or OEM E65 rotors. These are drilled and slotted, as you can see, and they never made that from the factory for the E65 platform. It says here on the side, made in Italy, and I think someone put this back in the US on the car because I couldn't find an equivalent here, so no idea which brand it is. That being said, they're in very good condition. There's no lip, they're not shaking or vibrating, so we're going to reuse them, just clean them up, make them pretty, and we're gonna go with different pads, and we're also going to refurbish the calipers completely, as well as install stainless steel brake lines. Gonna disconnect the brake pad wear sensor, disconnect the brake line, flare wrench, plug the line. Now I'm gonna remove the caliper, and now the caliper bracket. You know what? I think we're gonna do wheel bearings as well. They're a little bit noisy. I mean, this is somewhat normal, but the car has 200,000 kilometers. We are already sort of in here, so might as well refresh them. Okay, easy. Yeah, the shield is in good condition. This is aluminium. I think I found our soft brake pedal issue. The brake pads, as you can see, they're really weirdly worn, eroded, if you will, with chunks missing here and there. They're not branded and they're not that thin, but depending on what kind of material this is, it can cause a soft brake pedal. The rotors, it says Centric on the side, and I've never heard of that brand, so I just Googled it. It's an American brake part manufacturer, and I Googled the part number, and these are specifically for Alpina B7 and around 300 bucks per side, so nice. These are in good condition, we just need to clean them up. Gonna remove rear brakes as well. Ooh, the brake shoes are in really good condition. The parking shoes, that is. Thankfully, we don't need to touch that. Now we're gonna prep the calipers for blasting. That's the bushings removed. Off to the Aquablast cabinet. Beautiful. That's all of the calipers and brackets blasted. Now you're going to disassemble them completely. Compressed air. Oh yeah, that one is in perfect condition. And so is this one. Now remove the O-rings. I have my O-ring tool here. We need to wash this one more time. That one appears to be in good condition as well. I flushed the brake fluid, and since vapor blasting leaves the surface nice and smooth, now I'm going to use a Scotch-Brite and key the surface so that the paint sticks better. Just going to do this on all of the parts. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, scruff it up a bit. Degreaser. Now I'm going to use a clean Carbonius brake cleaner, go over the caliper, and then dump it into this. This is the last one. Time to mask up areas that we don't want to paint. All messed up and ready to be painted. We're going to be using Foliatec 2-component caliper paint, silver one. This is what I used on Project Rotwell as well, and the finish is really nice and durable as well. So with that, off to the paint booth. I mean a bush. The conditions are perfect. We have strong wind, it just rained as well, and it's blowing that way, so it's gonna blow paint directly into my face. We can't do it inside because I'm gonna get overspray on Alpina, and that's a big 9-9. We're gonna do 2 to 3 layers, okay? Take this one inside. Oh no, training, retreat! The rain stopped, let's finish this. Look at them. They're very pretty, aren't they? The finish is really amazing. Looks beautiful and feels strong and durable as well. So now we're gonna rebuild them, reassemble them, and for that we have original and OE parts. And the pistons we're going to reuse because they're in perfect condition. You can't buy them brand new, and I don't want to use anything off the market. I'm gonna go blow this out with compressed air, and then it's reassembly time. Original parts, they come with a little book. Why is there a book, man? Are you telling me how to install them? Oh, it's in French, perfect. I speak fluent French. Dichtung blah 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 for your own safety, cleanliness. Oh, there we go. This is still Deutsch, man. Whatever. We don't need instructions. We are men. Your O-rings, gonna blow this out with compressed air as well. Make sure it's seated properly. Very good. ATE brake cylinder paste. Very good. Blow out the piston one more time. These are very light pistons, man. They weigh nothing. Blow out the dust cap. Make sure this is seated properly. Pull them up like that, and then apply brake paste here as well. And then push it home. So there's a clip or a spring inside of this rubber boot, so it fits really tight and creates a perfect seal. So it can be a bit tricky to push it on. Just gotta be careful. There it is. Clipped on. Make sure the dust boot is not twisted or folded over improperly. That all looks good. Brand new bleed screw and a cap. Guide pins, no grease as per the repair manual. Caps we're gonna do later. The rotors, we're not gonna go too crazy here. I'm just gonna scruff up the surface here, the sides as well, paint all of that, maybe use a Scotch Brite on the surface here, remove the surface rust, and just make it a bit prettier once we put everything back on the car. All right, we gotta go inside. The rain is picking up. 13 years later, the rotors are prepped for paint, and here we're not going to use caliper paint because that wouldn't look right. We're going to use epoxy Rostschutz, which is like rust primer, and it has that grayish finish, which is exactly what you get when you buy brand new rotors. That looks neato. Now we're going to replace the wheel bearing. It's held in with 4 bolts to the steering knuckle. 3 of them we can reach rather easily. The 4th one, this one here, not so much. We need to lower the steering knuckle to clear the strut, and then we can get that one out as well. So first we're going to start with these 3 here, and then we need to unbolt the lower control arm bushing, sway bar link, and then we can lower the steering knuckle and get to the 4th one as well. That's 3 removed. Now we're gonna unbolt the sway bar link. Right. We need to loosen this lower control arm bushing here so that this control arm can swivel downwards. All right, it's loose enough. And now we can lower the steering knuckle to the point where you can get to this bolt here. This should give us enough space to get this bolt here. Here's the OE FAG wheel bearing, and here's what the old one sounds like. Here's a new one. Whisper quiet. This is pretty typical for wheel bearings with over 200,000 kilometers, so the new ones are going to feel much smoother and much tighter. I have a replacement wheel speed sensor coming as well. I line up this notch here with the recess in the steering knuckle. Brand new bolts. Torque is 110 newton-meters. And the last one here, for which we need to raise the knuckle. All the way in. Now I can torque this one here. Wheel bearing bolts torqued. Now I can torque back the pinch bolt. Gotta make sure the notch is in the knuckle and that it's seated all the way in, which it is. Release, Mr. Jackman. 90 degrees. The wheel speed sensor, as you can see, the wiring is crumbling, but I'm still waiting to get the parts, so we're gonna do them a bit later. Now we can proceed and put back the brakes. Bit of cleaning. Get my greasy fingerprints off. I painted the screws as well, because how could you not? Wheel hub paste only applied to the lip, not the entire hub. Like that. The rotors are side specific. This is the left one. Brand new screw. Apply brake paste, which is the same thing as wheel hub paste from Liqui-Moly. The brake pads, we're going with StopTech Sport pads. They are very good pads and should give us a better bite and more stopping power than whatever was on the car before. I bought them from brakeshop.com. They actually intercepted my order, and turns out they're fans of the channel, so I ended up talking to them. We're gonna work in the future again on Project Frankfurt E92 M3. We're gonna do better rotors and pads for that car as well. So if you're in the market for better brakes, big brake kits, rotors, pads, whatever you need related to the brakes, they have an amazing collection of pretty much everything. So I'm gonna leave the link to their website in the description. Then for brake lines, I bought stainless steel lines from ProBrake, and these have the OEM finish look with this rubber on the outside. As per the repair manual, we're gonna apply brake paste on the piston surface here. This is all per repair manual. Make sure it's seated correctly. And now the most dreadful part, bleeding the brakes. That's always fun, isn't it? Cheers. Oh, I should be a bartender. 3 million bars of pressure. Brake bleeding done. Now we need to replace this bracket here that's broken and that someone tried to glue back together. Brand new one. This switch here is broken as well. New original part. You know, we're now in the stage where it's all about small details. Man, this car really needs wheel spacers. Oh, the brake pedal already feels so much firmer. Before I forget, let's torque the control arm bushings. All right, 90-degree angle. Yes, that is an E93 M3 with a good engine. Why do you ask? I know. I can't wait to start working on Project Frankfurt either. Soon, my friends, soon. I'm waiting to get a second 2-post lift in the dojo because we need it. This sucks. 4-post lift for mechanical work. It's good for some things, but suspension and removing engines, really not good. Okay, ladies and senoras, first things first, we need to remove the entire exhaust, then unhook the headlight level sensor here, the electrical connector, unbolt the parking brake cable from the bracket that holds it to the body, and then we can start lowering the subframe. All right. Whoa, easy there, tiger. There you go. Oh no, again with the stupid vacuum thing. Now I need to drag it out like a dead body. Don't scratch the tips, man. Take this and throw it into a dumpster. Who needs an exhaust anyway? I'm so strong. Spectacular! All right, time to go home. Going to see a musical with my better half. Can you see the excitement on my face? Ah! Now I'm gonna remove this bolt that holds the bracket for the parking cable to the chassis. There it is. Gonna do the same on the other side. Remove this bracket. Remove this support bracket here. Garbage plastic. Gonna have to buy that brand new. Same thing on the other side, except here we have the added bonus of the hydraulic lines. Oh, this one might survive. It did. Yep, we'll have to disconnect the lines here. Since we need to disconnect rubber hydraulic lines anyway, now we're going to remove them completely and then replace them. As you can see, the condition is not very good. Tons of cracks here. I don't like the look of it. That needs to be refreshed as well. Let's use brake cleaner first. Yay, hydraulic fluid. I use this in a glove. That should stop it from leaking. All right. Ouch! Now we can support the subframe by the diff, then undo the 4 subframe bolts, slowly start to lower it, and then we can see if we need to unbolt anything else. We just need a little bit of space so we can get our tool in here and extract the bushings. Visually, it looks fine, absolutely fine. It seems firm, that as well. I mean, that's probably normal for 207,000 kilometers. Anyway, we're gonna put this bolt in, so if the subframe suddenly starts to come down or whatever, it won't drop out. Very good. Oh, perfect. Plate on the top. This is the tool. Original B&W tool is insanely expensive. I bought this one on eBay from a guy, last item, and it seems like very good quality and it should work rather simple. So the smallest plate goes on the top here, it's threaded, and then that's gonna sit on the bushing like that. Then this piece goes here, and once we start doing the big nut here, it's gonna extract the bushing out. Paid 80 euros for this. Seems like a good deal. We also need to lube up the threads or grease them up, so I'm just gonna use fogging oil for men here. Plenty of it. First, we're gonna mark the position of the bushing, just in case, although you can't really mess this up because you have arrows on the bushing itself telling you how to install it. I'm just gonna mark where that arrow goes. Gonna have to lower the subframe a little bit more. Okay, let's see if I'm doing this correctly. With this tool, you can't use an impact. Nice. The tool works wonderfully. For the bushings, we're going with original ones. Here, I highly advise that you either use original parts or OE. OE in this case is Lemforder, but it's currently out of stock everywhere, which is why we're going with the original ones. You might be tempted to use Meili HD heavy duty instead of going with original ones, because these are 75 euros each from the dealer, and Meili, it's 30. And now I'm going to insert a video. Jarax from Czech Republic was testing Meili HD bushings to see how long they would last. And here's what they look like after 6 months of use.
Hádej, co to je? To jste říkali, Meili, no.
No, Meili. To je mazec, že? Že to není možný.
Yeah, they turned into pudding. And this is why I say Meili HD is crap. And when I say Meili, I mean Meili, I'm not sure how you pronounce it with an Y. Not Male. Male is OE. And they make original components for all of the cars, but Meili is crap. I've seen them fail left and right, and I never use them. That is just my opinion. If you want to use them and then replace them again after 6 months, that's up to you. But when it comes to suspension components, my preferred option is always OE, Lemforder, or TAW on some models like E38 and E31. And if that's not available, then original it is. We also have new pads, and I also got assembly aid from the dealer. This wasn't that expensive, and we were just going to coat the bushing all around and inside of the subframe. And this is how you install the bushing. There are arrows here, and this needs to point toward the front of the car and the rear of the car. So you can't really mess this up. I mean, you can if you don't pay attention to the arrows. We're going to use fine Scotch-Brite and brake cleaner to clean inside of the hole. And now assembly aid. I think this is mineral oil or something like that. Yeah, pretty sure it's mineral oil. Apply assembly aid on the bushing as well. That goes on the top. Then this threads there to the cup. Then the bushing. Okay, so I made a mark on the bushing here. That's fully seated. On a scale of 1 to difficult, this wasn't. That's 1 in. I mean, they don't feel that terrible. For over 200,000 kilometers, this really isn't that bad. There it is. That's it. I'm not seeing a ton of difference between the new one and the old one. They flex about the same, and this flex here is somewhat normal because that's the design of the bushing. There's no support here, but when you do it from side to side, it won't budge, which is, I mean, the same can be said for the old one as well. So we'll see if this is gonna make a bit of difference in the end once we drive the car. Don't know if you can see that, but that's not pressed all the way in. And this is the original bushing from 2007. Yeah. Brand new pad on the top, clean plate. Now I'm going to replace the pads all around, and we can get the subframe back in its place. The rear ones have a bottom pad as well. These are solidly mounted bushings, so they're not going to twist when we lower the car on the ground. Therefore, we can torque them to spec now. The repair manual states that you need to remove the fender liners, the brakes, the rotors, and bolt the shocks, the parking brake cables, and all of that stuff, and then you can lower the subframe. But as you can see, none of that is needed. And just lower it slightly, get the tool in, and get the job done. Now that the bushings are out, the two in the front are definitely in worse condition. I can see cracks in the rubber. That being said, nothing you wouldn't expect for the mileage and the age of the car. Pads, yeah, they turned into dust. And this tool is phenomenal. I'm gonna leave the link to the guy's eBay web shop in the description. No idea who he is, not sponsored or anything like that, but I do appreciate a man that makes really good tools, and these are phenomenal. I think this was his last item for the E65, But I also got E39 touring subframe bushing tool from him as well, which is something that we're going to do in the future episode of Project Rottweil. And the price as well, around 80 euros. Really good value for money. The diff bushings are in very good condition. There isn't even a slight crack in the rubber anywhere, even on the back as well. So we're gonna leave that alone as there's no clunks or any weird noises from the rear suspension. To round up the rear suspension refresh, we are going to replace the integral link and the ball joint now. First, unbolt the sway bar link. Unbolt the headlight level sensor lever. We are going to loosen trailing arm bolts, but this one here is an eccentric millionaire used for alignment, so we're gonna mark its position. That's nice and loose. Loosen up this one as well. This is just a regular bolt. Whoa. Oh, good. Oh, will ya? I'm trying to be nice here and not hammer you out. There. Was that difficult? Why you springy up? Huh? I think we're gonna remove this one all the way, and then we can. Alright. It's the integral link. Beautiful. And these bushings are in good condition as well. Hello, ball joint! Your ball jointing days are over. This is actually bad. Shouldn't be able to move it that easily with my hand, and it should stay like that, but it springs back into middle, so. It's not terrible, it's not knocking, but it's not good. It needs to be refreshed. So we need to remove the clip first. The same tool I used on Project Rottweil. Much easier than on E39 because this car is rust-free. Texas car. Brand new OE Lemforder, made in Germany. The integral links, we are actually going to upgrade them with E60 M5 links. This is an upgrade that Jarek from Czech Republic discovered. So E39, E38, X5, E53, E60, E65, they all use the exact same integral link. This one, which is just thin steel, but only E60 M5 uses this. This is aluminum, so you can see that it's better, sturdier design. It actually has Rolls-Royce part number over there, and this is around 80 euros from the dealer, so 160 for two of them. Nice upgrade that you can do on all of those platforms, including E39 M5. That's the part number. You can use WD-40 or rust loser just to lube up the surface. Excellent. See how this one stays when I turn it? That's how it should be. Just make sure this is seated correctly. E60 M5 integral link is direct fit. Plug and play. This one here is going to be a bit of a nightmare to get back in. Ah. There we are. That one was a bastard to get back in. All of these bushings, including the integral link bolts, we're going to do with suspension down on the ground, otherwise we're going to twist and ruin these bushings if we torque them now. Finger tight. Now I'm going to copy paste on the other side. That concludes our work on the suspension. Now I'm just gonna go around and button up some stuff, and then we can put back the exhaust. The lines here, I'm still waiting to get them. Hopefully they'll come tomorrow. But in the meantime, we can proceed and reassemble everything else. It's not too bad. You can maybe lift that there, and then I get this one in. Ah, look at that. It's already in. Oh no, it's already out. If there's one thing that's easier in the front post lift to do, that's to install and remove the exhaust. That's the exhaust reinstalled. Got the brand new lines here. That's much nicer. Give it a bit of a clean first. Nice, good and tight. Let's talk wheel spacers. I don't have a ton of experience when it comes to wheel spacers, so naturally I wanted to get something that's good quality from a well-known brand, and I ended up buying H&R wheel spacers. I just went through a huge ordeal with H&R wheel spacers on Project Rottweil E39 Touring. I had a massively violent steering wheel shake above 120 kilometers per hour. The cause, H&R wheel spacers. They fit very loosely onto the rims. Like you put them on the rim and you can actually move them like this, and there's an excessive amount of play there. And I ended up buying spacers from this company, SCC, put them on the E39, problem solved. No more steering wheel vibrations or shakes. So I have my caliper here, and now we're gonna measure E65 H&R wheel spacers. And here we have 72.36 millimeters for H&R. SCC, 72.47 millimeters. That's not a huge difference, but it is a significant difference when it comes to fitment and wheel spacers. Allow me to demonstrate. Original E65 Alpina rims, H&R wheel spacer. See how loosely it fits? Hear that? That side-to-side play, it's far too excessive. And this is what was causing steering wheel to shake on Project Rottweil. Here's SCC wheel spacer. It doesn't fit 100% tight either, but a lot less play. And this is what fixed the issue on that car. And I called H&R customer support to ask, why do they fit so loosely, or why is there so much play here? And the whole conversation was kind of pointless. They told me that they have an E39 Touring in the fleet and they don't have any issues with H&R wheel spacers, but here I am having issues on two factory original BMW Alpina rims on two separate cars, and same issue, far too much play from H&R wheel spacers. And now look at this. If I put H&R wheel spacer on the SCC one, there's no play whatsoever. But do it all the way around, SCC on H&R, far too much play. So H&R wheel spacers suck. This is going back, and I'm never gonna buy them again. When installing wheel spacers, it's crucial that the meeting surfaces are clean. So this, as well as the spacer, and then the surface on the wheel itself. If there's dirt or rust, that can cause vibrations. So in the back, we're going with 15 millimeters and 10 in the front. It is also essential to use longer wheel bolts. These are supplied with the spacers. You can't use stock bolts. They're not long enough. Start them all by hand. Need to top off the hydraulic fluid. First, we need to replace the wheel speed sensor. So this is the old one. Insulation is crumbling. Here's the brand new one, OE from ATE. Before and after. And that's a lot better. 10 millimeters in the front, 15 in the back, and the stance of the car is significantly improved. Quite like it. Nice. Now we can drive it back and forth and torque the rear suspension. Still waiting to get this clip, so I'm going to replace that off camera. The giant nut, 240 millimeters. My torque wrench only goes up to 200. So you're going to do that, and then we'll give it a bit more with a pry bar. Perfect. very good. Now we're going to polish the window trim. We ran out of time back at G on headquarters and Eve didn't have enough time to polish this, so we're gonna do it now. Got a carbon fiber cutting pad here on a dual action polisher. And now we're gonna use Griot's fast cutting cream. Sometimes this can be very difficult to polish. Here it's coming out good, but here we need more. Oh yeah, it's coming out beautifully. Man, what a difference. Got a tiny one here. Get all of the edges. Surface prep. Remove the polishing compound. And I gotta say, this already looks exquisite. And this was just a first pass. Now you're gonna do a final polish. Look, come here. Big difference, huh? And now finishing polish, Meguiar's 205. Surface prep. Wow! I think we can agree that is a significant improvement. It's coming out beautifully. Obviously the trim is not brand new, so you can see some small dots and scuffs here and there that you can't polish out. But compared to what it was before, this is brilliant. It's going to match the rest of the car beautifully because the finish is nice, glossy, mirror-like. I'm using Griot's fast cutting compound, Meguiar's 205 finishing polish, flex battery powered polisher. For the corners here that are really difficult to get to, I'm using a rotary extension very carefully. The rotary works so much faster. Totally understand why Eve prefers rotary. And that's the B-pillar trim done. Looks brilliant. Finally done. What do you think? How long did this take? Half an hour? An hour? Nope. 10 hours. 10 very long hours. And you might be thinking, can't be. It's just a bit of trim. But this is a very tedious and time-consuming job if you want to get good results. These two pieces here are actually the easiest. They're big, they're flat, you just go at it. But everything around it, super difficult and annoying, because you have to mask up all of the rubber trim. If you don't, you're gonna get your pad dirty almost instantly. Then once you're done polishing, we have to use the trick that Eve showed us with surface prep and a credit card or whatever, and just clean all of the edges and make sure that we remove the polishing compound, because once that dries, it's gonna look like crap. And then there's cutting this thing. I switched to 3M Fast Cut because it cuts a bit faster than Griot's polishing compound, but I still need to do 10 passes or more to get the mirror finish and blow out the pad after each pass because it gets clogged up super quickly. And then you have all of the weird angles and stuff. It just never ends. It's really taking forever to do. But the end result is spectacular. The trim looks brand new. It's in rather good condition. I mean, not perfect, but really good for the age, and it's popping and it's gonna match with the rest of the car beautifully. As you can see, I got polishing residue everywhere, but I didn't want to mask the car because if I put a lot of tape or paper or bags, I'm gonna scratch and mar the paint, and I don't want to do that. So I talked to Eve and he told me to use hot water to wash the car, and just that'll dissolve the polishing compound and whatnot. Now I'm gonna clean and prep the surface one more time. Then we're gonna apply ceramic coating, and then I'm gonna flip the car around and do the other side, because yeah, 10 hours just to do one side. I still need to do the other one. Perfect. Surface prep. Just making sure I wiped it off all properly. Finish the right side as well, all polished and ceramic coated. It looks beautiful. The two bottom pieces are actually the most difficult ones to do because they're very thin and it's difficult to get your polisher in there. So I took them off the car and then I could use my big polisher, and that was much easier and faster because it took me like 15-20 minutes to do one. But I'm very happy with the results. It looks factory fresh. Time for some finishing touches. Brand new emblem. Now you gotta fit Alpina letters. Surface prep. I'll post the measurements that I just found in TIS. So we need a bit of tape, a measuring device. So now I need to measure 10 millimeters from this trim here, and that's where the letters need to go. All right. And then they start 30 millimeters from the edge here, which is there. Like that. The only thing it doesn't say what's the spacing between the letters. I put fresh double-sided tape on this, and I also polished the letters. So I'm gonna go with a 4 mil spacing between letters. Even spacing between the letters, and it's not crooked or anything like that. And now the B7, same dealio, 10 mil above the trim. And then it's 50 mil from the end here. Haha. Very good. And now the final blueberry on the top of the cake. This is the steering wheel that I had made for this car to replace the ugly base E60 steering wheel that Alpina put from the factory. But I overlooked one important thing when I had this one made, and that is the stitching. You can see that it goes crisscross, and that's B&W stitching. It's not Alpina. Alpina stitching is straight. You have two parallel lines. On top of that, this trim piece here kind of bugged me with the sticker. Something was missing. I needed more. So I had new bright idea, and I found a guy that does OE style steering wheels. That means exact same look as from the factory, same letters, same stitching, it just looks beautiful. So now I'm introducing Alpina Steering Wheel 2.0. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Straight stitching all around, exactly like from Alpina factory. We have blue on top, green on the bottom, and then this bit. This is piece de resistance. So Alpina released some press photos of the original E65 steering wheel for Alpina B7, but they never had that steering wheel made, and it had something like this on it. This piece was covered in leather and had Alpina flags here, blue and green, so I wanted the exact same thing for this steering wheel, and the guy made that happen as well. I mean, the whole steering wheel looks stunning. The craftsmanship and the finish of the steering wheel is unbelievable. I'm so thrilled about this. So now I'm gonna transfer buttons and the paddles in this steering wheel, and let's put it in the car. Here we go. Get the airbag, plumb that in. Oh, nope, I forgot to put, so excited to see the finished result, I forgot to put the bolt in. Good, and twist. Unbelievable. The car looks unbelievable. I just spent 3 hours cleaning it and it looks immaculate. This car is 15 years old. It has 208,000 kilometers, but go ahead and tell me that it's that old and that it has that many kilometers. There's no way to tell. Go ahead and look at every detail on the exterior of the car. The turn signal, the bulbs, the emblems, the window trim, the seals, everything. It's so ridiculously clean. I can't believe that this is the same car that was so heavily neglected when it came to me, and look at it now. The biggest issue? Keeping it clean. There's already dust on it. The window trim looks fabulous. And the best part, you step inside, the pop-up function works, of course. And again, it's immaculate inside. Minty fresh. You know, you and I, and by you and I mean you, the subscribers, viewers, Patreons, we saved and restored a decent amount of cars on this channel, but we never went this far with one of the projects. I spent a tremendous amount of time and money getting this car to where it is right now. I want to say it's done, but before I can do that, on Monday we are going for a dyno run just to make sure all of the power is there. And if it is, and I hope it is, then we're gonna say that this project is officially done. Right now, I'm gonna head home, crack open my favorite beer, and savor this moment. We should all be proud. Right from the start, the rear end already feels a lot different. Before, when I would hit a pothole, I can actually feel the rear end floating and getting unsettled. It would hit the hole, then kind of move left to right, and then come to a stop. That is gone now. It's no longer there. The rear end feels so much tighter and better. So that issue is resolved, thankfully, by replacing the subframe bushings, ball joints, and integral link. Very happy with the suspension now. The brakes, remember me complaining that the pedal was soft and that there was no bite? That's been resolved as well. As I said, I drove the car on the Autobahn, bedded in the pads, and now it feels proper, correct for this car because it has enough bite and the stopping power just feels better than before, and it gives me confidence to push and drive the car and just step on the brake hard, and I can feel the brakes digging in like on the E60 M5, so quite happy with that. 2 annoying issues resolved. The car was swimming all over the place here before. There's an uneven section here. No more of that. Also, the spacers are perfect. There's no vibrations, no steering wheel shakes coming from the steering wheel. Problem is I can't see the turn signal here. The GoPro is in the way and I can't physically feel it either. It brakes so much better than before. It doesn't feel as tight and stable at higher speeds over 200 kilometers per hour like E60 M5, but again, you can't really compare them. One is a crazy screaming V10 machine that handles a lot better than it should for a 4-door sedan, and this car, it's all about luxury and comfort and smooth torque. So I'm really happy with this car. This is a perfect road trip car. That being said, I did make it sort of unusable. It's far too nice to drive it everywhere now. Like if I'm going on a road trip now, I have to plan where I'm going to park it. I can't park it just anywhere because I'm gonna get door dings and scratches and stuff, so yeah. And I know some of you are gonna be sad to see this car go, but I have to let it go. I have so much money in this car, it is ridiculous. And now it's far too nice for me to use it because this is a car now that you take on a road trip. It's gonna get really dirty. You come back home, you need to dedicate 3 hours of your time to wash it properly. I don't have that time. I have 16 cars, million projects. Device overheated, recording stopped. And that's the new DJI Osmo Action 3 that overheated. Yay! For the garbage action cameras. Anyway, hopefully this one is still recording. I'm not even putting my foot to the floor here, and it pulls so strongly. All right, so we're doing 240. I'm gonna step on the brake pedal. Yes, the brake bite is there. But man, I'm gonna be really sad seeing this car go. The way it looks now, the way it drives. The steering wheel, drop dead gorgeous. It's actually a bit thinner than the last one, so it feels even better in your hands. And the quality, the stitching, the leather, the feeling, how it feels in your hands. I love it. It's one of my favorite things that I've done on the car. All right, I'll see you mañana on the dyno. So you're going back, DJI, you're garbage as well. It's big, huh? Now we just hope the engine doesn't disintegrate. Because what can happen? It can slip because there's not enough weight over the back? Okay.
If it's slipping, it's not a good measurement.
Okay. But you'll feel it, or?
Yeah, I will feel it, and we'll see it on the monitor.
Okay. Slipping? Yeah. Smell rubber. Still doing it, huh?
Every time complicated with this kind of cars.
Good or bad?
Not the power we expected. That's what we have.
464.
464, yeah. And 607 Newton meters torque. We are missing a little bit.
So something with the car, or the dyno is just different, or?
I think if you go on a dyno jet, yeah, you will have round about 20% more. Yeah.
If I go on dyno.
But on another dyno. But this is the correct value. Many people come here and I miss so much power. But that's correct. But don't forget, that's only a number. The car drives smooth.
Yeah, it was perfect.
It's powerful, everything's fine. Much people first number have to be 5 or 6, yeah. But it's not so important. Important is how to drive, how the drive is, yeah. The drive is very smooth. It's okay.
Yeah, the power curve is nice,
yeah,
smooth.
Very nice.
But this is the thing that I was telling you earlier, because this is a US spec car. I have RL 102 in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it needs a tune.
That is US.
This is US.
Or
this
UK,
is
US.
US.
It's possible.
They're totally different ECU.
Yeah, it should be possible. What's the marker on the...
On the gas cap? That's US.
Oh.
Yeah. But US 93.
Yeah. But then the car can't have the same power like in Europe. For sure, they will drop the ignition timings at the end, that pistons are not going wrecked, you know?
Ah, okay, because of the fuel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't melt the pistons.
Yeah. So you need a European software.
For this car.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, this is what I thought.
For sure, it's not dropping anymore.
Yeah, this is why I told you earlier, because I was expecting something like this. That was my first time on a dyno. Overall, it went well. The engine didn't blow up, so that's always a good thing. The results, pretty much what I suspected and what I mentioned in the earlier episodes. The car is going to need a tune because it is a US spec car. So yesterday, Oli from OE Motors and I dived into the ECU of Alpina. Turns out there are 3 different softwares, 3 different maps for Alpina B7. The first one is what this car has, US spec map, which is for the fuel that's not as good as what we have here. Then there are 2 European maps. The first one is for 95 RON, which is a bit poorer fuel, and then the second one is 98 RON, 98 octanes, which is the good fuel. So we need to figure out how to remap the ECU because it's not the easiest one to do that. Oli is sending me some special tools and cables, so once that comes in, we're gonna play with it a bit more. I also did some research and managed to find only 2 dyno results for US spec Alpina B7, really old ones, like 15 years ago when the car was brand new. One did 470 and then the other one did 460 horsepower, which is about what we have here. And I also managed to find 1 European Alpina B7, apparently all stock, and that one did 520 horsepower. There's another owner from the UK, Matt, who, if you remember, we swapped out the cluster phase from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. His did 542 horsepower on the dyno, but he thinks his has a tune. That being said, I don't know anything about dynos. There's a dyno jet, there's a Mustang, there's whatever we were on yesterday, there's single roller, there's double roller. It's just all a bit confusing to me. Every dyno is gonna give you different results. Then you might get wheel horsepower and factory gives you crank horsepower, so you have to account for the drivetrain loss. I'm just gonna have to do a bit more research and try to understand all of that. The guy yesterday also told me that his dyno is gonna show lower results than, for example, DynoJet. So there's that as well. But anyway, we're gonna end this episode on a bit of a cliffhanger. In the next one, first thing we're going to do is go back on the dyno with the good European map and see if there's any improvement. From there, we can take it up a notch and just try to get maximum safe amount of horsepower from this engine. And if there's no improvement, maybe we build a 3rd engine for it. Yeah, not doing that. Would rather it's cement. After that, we're gonna go visit Alpina. I need to make an appointment with them. And after that, I'm gonna tell you how much money I spent on this car. Spoiler alert, it's more than you think. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. The next episode is going to be on Project X5 and Project Raleigh E60 M5. I need to do a bit of work on them, so might as well make a video out of it. Also, say hello to a brand new Benpack 2-post lift, freshly planted. I'm gonna go water it.